Okay, folks, happy Friday, so happy weekend. Looking at some AS Pure Maths content, okay, from year 12 and year 13 Maths. This was question 10 from an old spec core 1 A-level paper from the edX exam board. Okay, so we are given that 4x squared plus 8x plus 3 is equivalent, i.e. the same as a bracket x plus b all squared plus c. Part A, find the values of the constant A, B, and C. Whenever we see this format, guys, we should be thinking completing the square. Okay, so I'm going to complete the square on this quadratic expression. Okay, so I'm going to factor out a 4 first. Now 4 brackets x squared plus 2x. I'm going to factor out of the first 2 terms. Okay, some teachers do it out of the first 3. Okay, that's completely fine. Okay, but this is my preferred method. I'm now going to complete the square on what's inside the bracket, okay, because I want the coefficient of x squared to be equal to 1. At the start it wasn't, so that's why I had to factor out a 4. Okay, so I'm going to factor 4 out, okay, and I'm going to put some square brackets. We're going to do x, and then we're going to halve the coefficient of x. So half of 2 makes plus 1. Okay, close the bracket, square it. Subtract this number squared, so minus 1 squared is minus 1. Okay, and then I'm going to copy down the plus 3. Okay, I'm now going to expand the square bracket with the 4. So I'm going to do 4 times this, and then 4 times minus 1. So I'm going to have 4 brackets, okay, x plus 1 all squared. And then 4 times minus 1 makes minus 4. Copy down the plus 3. After that, guys, all we do is simplify. So we're going to have 4 lots of 4 brackets, or 4 lots of x plus 1 all squared. Minus 4 plus 3 is minus 1. And that, guys, is my final answer. Okay. What about part B, guys? On the axes, okay, on page 27, okay, which I haven't got on here, unfortunately, sketch the curve y is equal to 4x squared plus 8x plus 3, showing the coordinates clearly, okay, of any points of intersection with the x-axis, or coordinate axes. Okay, well, by completing the square, guys, we know that our minimum point, or our turning point, will be minus 1 for the x value, okay, and then minus 1 for the y value, because that's the number on the end. Okay, this 4 is just a multiplier, so it makes it quite steep. Okay, so minus 1 will be somewhere down here. It also crosses at plus 3. Okay, so it's going to look something like that. Again, that's not perfect, I apologize. Okay, but hopefully that makes sense for our answer. And again, to work out the x-intercepts, you would obviously set the quadratic equal to 0 and then solve it. So if I set the completed square version here equal to 0 and solve it, okay, I would add 1 to both sides, divide through by 4. Okay, so I have x plus 1 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 1 over 4, or 1/4, which would be half. Subtract 1 on both sides. We have x is equal to plus or minus a half minus 1. And then you're able to work out or deduce what your x-intercepts are. Okay, you've got plus a half minus 1 makes minus a half, and then minus a half minus 1 makes minus 3 halves. Okay, so this would be minus a half here, and minus 3 halves here. Obviously plus 3 there. The minimum point would be minus 1 minus 1. Okay, from completing the square. Okay, and that, guys, is how we would obviously sketch the curve, okay, of this quadratic expression, 4x squared plus 8x plus 3. And in total, guys, that was worth 7 marks from an edXL AS Pure Maths past paper.